You know that simple green icon on your phone? The one you use pretty much every day to chat with family, with friends all over the world? Well, behind that little app is a pretty dramatic story. A story about ideals, a ton of money, and a promise that was worth $19 billion. So yeah, let's get into it. Here's the central question, the real head scratcher. How did an app that was literally founded on the idea of no ads, no tracking, no gimmicks end up being owned by the biggest data and advertising company on the planet? It's a wild story, and it affects all of us. And look, we're not talking about some small-time app here. 3 billion. That's how many people use WhatsApp. That's almost half the planet, spread across over 180 countries. So what happened to WhatsApp's promise? Yeah, that matters to a whole lot of people. To really understand this whole clash, we have to go back, way back to the beginning, to this really powerful mission that was born out of some pretty intense personal experience. This right here, this is the why behind WhatsApp. One of the co-founders, Jan Koum, he grew up in Soviet Ukraine. Imagine growing up in a place where you can't trust the phone lines, where you assume someone is always listening. That experience gave him this deep-seated belief that private conversation isn't just a nice feature, it's a basic human right. So when Koum and his co-founder, Brian Acton, starting WhatsApp, they were basically building the anti-Yahoo, the company they had just left. They hated the ad-based model. They thought it ruined everything. So their mission was just pure. No ads, no games, no nonsense. Just simple, secure messaging that worked. Okay, so you've got this pure, simple idea. How on earth does that turn into an app that basically conquers the world? Well, believe it or not, the first version of WhatsApp wasn't even for messaging. It was just a status app. You could share what you were up to. And in the founder's own words, it failed horribly. But then, this key thing happens. Apple introduces push notifications. And all of a sudden, users started hacking the status feature to send little messages to each other. The founders saw this, had their aha moment, pivoted to messaging, and boom, that's when things just took off. And this was their secret sauce. It sounds so simple now, but it was genius. Remember back in the day, you had to find people's usernames, send friend requests. It was so clunky. WhatsApp just scanned your address book. If you had someone's number, you were connected. It was seamless. It just worked. And the growth was just insane. We're talking rocket ship levels. They doubled their users in about a year. And the business model was so honest, just $1 a year. No tricks, no hidden fees. People trusted it because it was so straightforward. Now, when you grow that fast, you get noticed. And I mean really noticed. The biggest giant in Silicon Valley came knocking with an offer that was about to change everything. An offer so big, it seemed almost impossible, especially for a little app that was barely making any money. $19 billion. That's what Facebook paid. It was, at the time, the biggest purchase of a private tech company in history. I mean, to put that in perspective, that kind of money could fund NASA's Mars rover program for like 7 years. It was just an unbelievable amount. So, of course, everyone was kind of freaking out, worried Facebook would ruin their favorite app. To calm everyone down, Facebook made this very big, very public promise. They said, don't worry, WhatsApp will stay independent. We'll respect their mission, and most importantly, there will be no ads. That promise was everything. But here's the thing. You had two completely different philosophies. WhatsApp's world was built on privacy. Facebook's world was built on data. And they were on a collision course. And this is the absolute heart of the conflict. In WhatsApp's eyes, their service was worth $1. Simple. But in Facebook's eyes, your data, your phone number, who you talk to, that's worth way, way more than $1 a year. Those two ideas just couldn't live together forever. And you can see how it all started to unravel. First, in 2016, they got rid of that $1 fee. Sounds good, right? Free is better. But then they started sharing user data, like your phone number, with Facebook. This was the exact opposite of what they promised. And that was pretty much the beginning of the end for the founders. One by one, they walked out the door. Now get this number, $850 million. That's how much stock co-founder Brian Acton walked away from. He left it on the table. He was so against the direction Facebook was taking that he literally chose his principles over a fortune that most of us can't even comprehend. And his words after he left, man, they're just brutally honest. He basically said he sold out his users, and he has to live with that choice. It just shows you the incredible weight of these billion-dollar decisions. So, where does that leave us? Well, it leaves all of us caught in the middle of this constant tug of war between privacy and convenience. And Brian Acton, he didn't just walk away quietly. Oh no. In 2018, right in the middle of that huge Cambridge Analytica scandal, he drops this bombshell of a tweet. The man who sold his company to Facebook for billions was now telling the whole world to delete it. The irony is just staggering. Which brings us right to today's dilemma. On one hand, you've got apps like Signal, which, by the way, Brian Acton helped create after he left, that are all about ultimate privacy. On the other hand, you've got WhatsApp, owned by Meta, where literally all your friends and family already are. It's the ultimate battle, your principles versus the power of the network. And so, the whole story of WhatsApp brings us back to that one classic question. For a service that connects billions of us every single day, the answer has changed a lot. What started as a simple $1 promise became a $19 billion lesson in what happens when our connection becomes the commodity.